You're gonna find my gun.
Just multiple guns?
I got a stick, an AR.
Word on the street is that King Harris's reckless mouth behind bars has finally caught up to him, and the consequences are looking deadly serious. Reports say his father, T.I., is now scrambling behind the scenes trying to contain the chaos, but insiders claim it's already far too late. The gangs inside aren't just trying to humble him anymore. They allegedly want him gone for good, completely erased from the picture. It all started from what looked like a simple, harmless traffic stop, the spark that set off a full-blown firestorm across social media. Picture this. 20-year-old King Ciandre Harris, son of trap legend Clifford T.I. Harris Jr., sitting behind the wheel of a sleek black BMW. What should have been a quiet cruise through the suburbs exploded into viral drama that lit up Twitter, Instagram, and WorldStar like a chain reaction. King, known for flexing online and chasing clout in his rap career, was about to see everything come crashing down. And it all started with one reckless mistake behind the wheel.
Saying that you weren't allowed to turn left right there because it's separated by those double yellow lines. I got you. Do you have your license on you? Go ahead and step it up. Okay, Mr. Harris. Okay, we gotta have a talk about something else. So keep your hands on the steering wheel for me.
According to Fox 5 Atlanta and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, King almost sideswiped a Dunwoody police cruiser while leaving a gas station. The officers didn't waste a second. Lights on, sirens blaring, cutting him off before he could even react. But this wasn't your average traffic ticket. When the officer leaned in, he immediately smelled strong marijuana filling the car. Then came the real problem, a heavy firearm sitting right on King's hip. In seconds, a simple stop turned into full-blown chaos, all captured on body cam. The footage, released in early 2025, shows the officer staying calm while ordering King to step out of the car. But when they ran his name through the system, things took an even darker turn, one that changed everything. That's when the bombshell dropped. King Harris had an active bench warrant out of Pickens County, Georgia. The warrant traced back to 2022 when he reportedly skipped court over charges that had been hanging over his head for years. The list included speeding, driving under the influence, and knowingly operating a vehicle with a suspended license. That quiet suburban stop was just the beginning of a storm King could no longer outrun. His suspended license was only one piece of a much bigger mess. According to Rolling Out, it should have been nothing more than a routine traffic hiccup, the kind of mistake most people move past quickly. But here's where he completely messed up. When the court mailed out his notice in September 2024, it bounced back undelivered, meaning King never showed up for his hearing. And in Georgia, missing court, even for small offenses, is enough to get you hit with a bench warrant fast. That's exactly what happened here. So by the time October rolled around and King nearly sideswiped that police cruiser in the suburbs, the law was already waiting for him, with paperwork ready to bring him in on the spot.
Say more than anything right now is to be able to make a phone call. So when we get there, it can already be figured out.
To who? Who are you trying to make a phone call to?
I'm trying to make a phone call to my pop.
From that moment, everything escalated. The body cam footage shows officers smelling strong marijuana and spotting a weapon inside the car. When they confronted him, King didn't try to dodge the question. He admitted straight up that he was armed. For many who later watched the footage, that was the moment everything shifted. The exact second his reputation, his freedom, and his father's name all started to spiral into something much bigger than a simple traffic stop. The son of a rap pioneer casually admitting he had both a burner and some bud on him like it was no big deal stunned everyone. But what really threw officers off was his demeanor. It wasn't reckless, arrogant, or panicked. Instead, King stayed surprisingly calm. He followed every single command, kept his hands visible, stepped out of the vehicle when told, and even made small talk with the police. One officer even noted in his report how composed King's energy was during the entire stop. Still, once that bench warrant flashed across the system, it was game over. King was cuffed, detained, and read his Miranda rights on the spot. His first stop, DeKalb County Jail. From there, he was quickly transferred to Pickens County, where the original warrant had been issued. And that's when the story took a viral twist. While riding in the back of the patrol car, King casually mentioned that his father was none other than the King of the South himself, T.I.
Seem like a cool kid. I don't want anything to come out of this. So let's just make sure that the warrant's valid and go from there, okay?
You can, you know what I'm saying, kind of woosah yourself outside of the public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I really admire his dedication and commitment to the craft, because, you know, I kind of told him, you know, what was wrong about it. Making mistakes. I ain't had no daddy who would pull up and get on my ass anytime. Things I did, you can't get away with.
I know that.
Man, damn. Yeah, that's I ain't see that one coming. You know
Really?
what I mean? Nah, I didn't.
The officers didn't react much at the time, but when the footage hit the internet, it exploded. This wasn't just another 20-year-old caught slipping. This was the Trap Prince himself, now facing legal drama eerily similar to his father's early years. But here's where everything flipped. Despite the noise, the weed, and the weapon, King didn't sit behind bars for long. By the next day, October 15th, 2024, the warrant was recalled and King walked free. No additional charges for possession or the firearm either. Thanks to Georgia's laws, where licensed carry is allowed and small amounts of marijuana often lead to a fine instead of jail time, King technically skated through the legal side. But in the court of public opinion, his reputation took a serious hit. From TMZ to Hot New Hip Hop, his name dominated every headline. And that spotlight wasn't going away anytime soon. The headlines exploded everywhere. T.I.'s son arrested, guns and weed found, warrant confirmed. The tagline alone was enough to shake the entire culture. On paper, it was just a short stay behind bars, barely a blip on the legal radar. But symbolically, it cut much deeper than that. For years, T.I. had publicly warned his son about chasing a street image while living a comfortable suburban life. He said it bluntly in an interview, that King was headed down a dangerous path, one that could easily land him behind bars. And now those warnings had come true, unfolding in real time for the world to see.
About to have a son.
King's about to have a son. Congrats.
Yeah. And I told him I'm gonna make this the greatest gangster of all times. I will raise this child to torture you the way that you tortured me.
But the body cam footage told a far more complex story. King wasn't wilding out, shouting, or resisting arrest. He was calm, collected, and almost eerily resigned to what was happening. At one point, he even looked confused about the warrant and politely asked if he could call his father. For many viewers, that moment hit hard. It peeled back the mask of arrogance and showed a glimpse of raw humanity. The same kid who flexed online, flaunted cash, and tried to prove his street credibility was suddenly just a young man in cuffs, caught off guard and reaching for help. When the footage finally dropped in 2025, YouTube and hip-hop blogs caught fire instantly. Some critics said it was proof that King had been chasing a lifestyle he never truly belonged to, that he was playing a dangerous game to earn street stripes he didn't need. Outlets like Atlanta Black Star called it a suburban crash course in real-world consequences. Others defended him, arguing that a bench warrant over minor traffic charges could happen to almost anyone. Still, the optics were undeniable. T.I.'s son in the suburbs armed with weed in the car, it was an image that locked in his reputation as someone who couldn't stay out of drama. But behind that viral moment, darker whispers were starting to spread. Whispers that hinted this was just the beginning of something far more serious. By 2025, rumors were spreading like wildfire across social media. Claims that King Harris had been sentenced to 5 years, that he'd been jumped in county jail, and that T.I. himself was supposedly reaching out to OGs, begging for protection for his son. Whether true or not, the gossip moved fast, turning King's every viral clip into a shadow of his father's legacy. Clifford T.I. Harris, once the self-proclaimed king of the South, was now facing a much different battle. He'd already survived the streets, federal charges, and the music industry's chaos. But raising a son in the spotlight came with a whole new kind of pain. King's October 2024 arrest wasn't just another scandal. It was a painful chapter in a long public family saga. Generational clashes, ego, pride, it had all been boiling beneath the surface for years. Ty had warned his son countless times that the tough guy act would only end badly. The viral fights, the Waffle House scuffles, the constant flashing of weapons online, he'd told King that all of it was leading toward one destination, a jail cell.
Children gonna be children, kids will be kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I expect that from them. I expect them to do the wrong thing.
Wait till I get back and see him. Wait till I slap a alright, yeah, wait. Wait till I come back in the market late night, and then it's just you and I you up.
And those warnings weren't just talk. Ty knew that life personally. In 2009, he served a year in federal prison on weapons charges after years of battling his own legal demons. To him, King wasn't just his son. He was a reflection of the same struggle, only this time playing out under the glare of social media. So when King finally got cuffed in October 2024, it hit different. It felt like prophecy fulfilled, the moment T.I. had been trying to prevent for years. But even before that arrest, the cracks in their father-son bond were impossible to hide. Remember that Atlanta Falcons game in late 2023? King and T.I. got into a heated argument in front of thousands of fans, right there in the stands. The clip went viral overnight, showing T.I. trying to calm things down while King shouted back, defiant and emotional. That moment wasn't just a family spat, it was a snapshot of a generational clash playing out in real time between an old-school survivor and a young man trying too hard to prove he was one too. King shouted in front of the cameras that he wasn't some spoiled silver spoon kid. He claimed he'd grown up with his grandmother away from the luxury of T.I. and Tiny's mansion. For King, it was all about proving authenticity, showing the world he was real and not just another celebrity kid living off fame.
Confirm it. So the warrant is valid and they do want you.
Well,
And now that I'm thinking about it, I want you to make sure that you know your rights. I'm gonna read your Miranda real quick. Just give me 1 sec. Just gonna read you your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of...
For T.I. though, it was painful frustration, watching his son reject the stability and comfort he had fought his entire life to secure. That stadium argument became the perfect symbol of their relationship. Father and son locked in a tug-of-war over identity, values, and pride, while fans in the stands and millions online watched it unfold like an episode of reality TV. It was raw, unfiltered, and heartbreakingly public. So when police in Dunwoody pulled King over in October 2024 and found weed, a firearm, and that old bench warrant, it didn't feel like just another routine arrest. It was a family earthquake, the kind that shakes generations. But then came the unexpected twist. The body cam footage revealed a side of King most people hadn't seen before, handcuffed, anxious, still asking to call his father. That single image stood in total contrast to the tough, unbothered persona he projected online. Beneath the attitude and viral drama, it showed something real. A young man still looking to his father for help. Publicly, T.I. stayed silent. No rants, no dramatic statements, no press conferences. But behind the scenes, insiders say he was moving fast, calling lawyers, speaking to clerks, and pulling every string possible to manage the fallout. For T.I., this wasn't just about keeping his son out of deeper legal trouble. It was about protecting the Harris legacy, the empire he had spent over a decade rebuilding. By 2025, T.I. wasn't just a rapper anymore. He was a businessman, a family man, and a figure of respect. Seeing his son's mugshot plastered across national headlines wasn't just personal. It threatened everything he'd worked for. The music, the brand, the redemption arc. One mistake from King had the potential to shake it all. And here's the twist that made the entire story even more surreal. While T.I. was busy dealing with the fallout from his son's arrest, King was stepping into fatherhood himself. In November 2024, he and his longtime partner, Jania Big Nana Peeps, welcomed their first child, a baby boy named King Jr. for T.I. The irony hit harder than ever. During an interview on Hot 107.9 not long after, T.I. cracked a joke that landed like a truth bomb, part humor, part heartbreak. It was a rare moment where the laughter carried layers of reality beneath it. The once rebellious son who seemed determined to rebel against every lesson now had to face the challenge of raising a son of his own. The generational cycle had officially come full circle. For most families, a father-son argument might stay behind closed doors. But the Harrises aren't most families. Every disagreement becomes a headline. Every private moment turns into a trending topic. When news of King's arrest hit, major outlets like Billboard splashed it across their pages, while Atlanta Black Star openly mocked his obsession with wanting to be a thug so bad. Social media took it even further. Memes, parodies, remixes, and running jokes flooded timelines. For T.I., it meant that every parenting misstep was now up for public dissection. For King, it meant that every youthful mistake was branded as proof that he was reckless and out of control. Together, they'd become more than just a father and son. They were a spectacle, part hip-hop dynasty, part reality show drama, and part cautionary tale unfolding in real time. And perhaps the most telling part of all came from King himself. In a now viral clip, he compared his relationship with T.I. to Ghost and Tariq from Power. It wasn't just a throwaway reference, it was painfully accurate. Ghost was the father who clawed his way out of the streets, built an empire, and fought to protect his son from falling into the same darkness. Yet no matter how hard he tried, the son couldn't resist walking straight into it. The parallels were haunting, and for the Harrises, life was imitating art in the most dramatic way possible. Tariq was the son who rejected his father's protection, chasing independence even if it meant running straight into danger. That's the Harris family dynamic in one snapshot. T.I. looks at King and sees both his own past and his son's potential future, while King looks at T.I. and sees the chains he's desperate to break free from, and the public can't look away. Every clash, every stumble, every viral clip spreads like wildfire, turning their private struggle into public entertainment. But what truly draws people in isn't just the fame, the controversy, or the headlines. It's the raw humanity underneath it all. A father who loves his son but fears where he's headed. A son who loves his father but can't bring himself to admit it. A family stuck in the paradox of privilege versus authenticity, trying to navigate normal life while living under the weight of extraordinary fame. By the time 2025 rolled around, one thing was clear. King Harris's story had grown far beyond a single traffic stop or an arrest record. It had become a lens into something bigger. The cycles of generational conflict, the burden of legacy, and the eternal question haunting hip-hop's next generation. Can the children of fame truly carve their own path? King's next move will define that answer. His journey through fatherhood, music, and self-discovery will determine whether he grows beyond being T.I.'s son or ends up pulled back into the same storm that shaped his father's past. Because beneath the headlines and gossip about gang beef or prison time lies a deeper truth. This is about a young man standing at the crossroads between redemption and repetition. When people talk about King Harris in 2025, the conversation almost always starts and ends with that October arrest. The flashing lights, the body cam, the mug shot. But his story can't be reduced to that Dunwoody parking lot moment. It's about what happens next. Whether King learns from the fire or gets consumed by it. His future, balancing music, fatherhood, and the shadow of T.I.'s powerful legacy, will decide how the world remembers him. His father built an empire out of hard lessons and harder time, carving his name into hip-hop history through persistence and pain. Now, the world is watching to see if King Harris upholds that legacy or tears it down trying to create his own. Every win, every loss, every headline, it all reflects back on T.I., not just as a father, but as a mentor whose legacy now rests in his son's hands. That's why every move King makes, whether it's growth or self-destruction, is part of a much larger narrative, one about inheritance, identity, and the heavy burden of living in the shadow of greatness. Right now, King stands at a crossroads. One path leads to recklessness, the privileged kid chasing street credibility he doesn't need. The other leads toward responsibility, a young father stepping into maturity using music, fatherhood, and experience to define his own story. Which path he chooses will decide everything, whether the next viral headline is another mugshot or a platinum plaque. In the end, this isn't just a story about gangs, fame, or jail. It's a story about transition, about a father trying to protect his son from his own mistakes, and a son determined to prove himself on his own terms. King Harris is more than just T.I.'s son. He's a rapper, a father, and a young man navigating life in full view of the public. The internet might twist, exaggerate, or clown every step he takes, but the truth remains. The spotlight doesn't build character, it exposes it. And for King, that exposure could either forge greatness or repeat tragedy. The real question isn't whether T.I. begged OGs to protect his son. It's whether King Harris can rise above the noise and reach his full potential before history repeats itself. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more stories just like this. And don't forget to share this video. The next chapter in this saga might arrive sooner than anyone expects.